welcome to the next episode of the Andy Warhol Diary and the old Razzle Dazzle. This is your pal Mubbo, and today we're going to be looking at Sunday, December 19th, 1976. Before we get started, there are some very small housekeeping items to address. The first one, of course, is if anyone has any information regarding the murder of my Uncle Charles Pancheri in Elizabeth, New Jersey in 2011. He was murdered at his home on Green Street in Elizabeth from stab-like wounds. If anyone has any information, you can call the TIPS hotline at 908-654-TIPS. That's 908-654-8477. If you'd like to submit a tip through their website, you can go to www.uctip.org, www.unioncountytip.org. And I thank you very much for your cooperation. Any information is appreciated. Also, if you'd like to follow along in a digital version of the diary, you can go to this website right here. And when you get to this main page, you can just click on full text and it'll bring you to the entire diary. Today we're looking at Sunday, December 19th. Also, if you're wondering why I put this in a PowerPoint presentation, I cannot get my computer to sync with StreamYards or Streamlabs. I have tried several times. It won't work. So this is what you get, and you get what you get, and you don't get upset. But I still would like to create the diary as something that I wanted to take another look at. So I decided to just do a PowerPoint presentation, drop some slides in. To be honest, I could just leave it on this title page and just read the diary, just summarize it for you. But I'm a visual person. I like to look at the things that Andy looked at and see what the people look like that he references and the places that he went. So this is what I'm doing. It's in PowerPoint presentation. I'm doing all the work for you. You just need to come along for the ride and just enjoy the diary. So today on December 19th, 1976, it was a short-ish diary entry for Andy. Andy buys some newspapers and magazines for the week, and then he gets a call from the former Velvet Underground frontman Lou Reed. I'm not going to go too much into the Velvet Underground. If you're here and you're watching this, you already know the relationship between Andy and Lou. I'm not going to get that much into it. As far as the Velvet Underground, their official breakup was in 1970 after Lou announced he was leaving. Lou left the band following a residency at Max's Kansas City, which was a restaurant. He said that he was tired of the band's lack of success. And here you can see Lou right here. Lou right here with Warhol, and there's an outside shot of Max's Kansas City. Lou died in 2013 at the age of 71 following complications from a liver transplant in an effort to cure his cancer. Now, there were some reports that Lou continued drinking after his liver transplant, which led to the complications, and apparently the cancer had spread to his bones. The cancer was rumored to have been a complication of hepatitis C, which could have been caused by sharing needles. Incidentally, if you're familiar with the singer Lana Del Rey, Lana has a song called Brooklyn Baby, which she was supposed to sing with Lou. And at the end of the song, you can hear what would have been Lou's part being sung by another male singer by the name of Seth Kauffman. And he actually sounds a little bit like Lou, so you can get an idea of what it was supposed to sound like. And Lana stated that Lou died on the very day that she arrived to record with him, per Lana. I'm not sure how true that is, but that's what Lana Del Rey says. Max's Kansas City was located at 213 Park Avenue South. It was originally opened as a pharmacy by an older owner, but then the owner realized that it would be a better location for a restaurant. It was opened as the Southern, and then it was sold, but then it was bought back after the new owner went bankrupt. Restaurateur Mickey Ruskin took it over and transformed the space into Max's Kansas City. It was officially closed in 1981, and it was a legendary hangout with Andy and his friends taking over the basement room. So the picture here on the left is from 2023, And the rights, here it is in 2025. So this didn't even, I mean, they tried to pull in the word Max to try to associate it with Max's Kansas City, but it doesn't look like the business succeeded. And so this one was from 2025. And then this one is from April 2026, which it looks even worse. So it doesn't look like anything was ever done with the business after that. And if you're in the New York City area and you wanted to take a look, you can see it on the map here, like where it was located right here. So we have some pictures. We have David Bowie and David Johansen of the New York Dolls, and this was before he became Buster Poindexter. Another photo we have here is Edie Sedgwick, Gerard, Melanga, and Bibbe Hansen. Now, Bibbe, we've talked about a couple of times. She was the mother of the singer Beck, and her father was Al Hansen, who I've mentioned a few times. Al was the person who wrote an article, and he was one of the first people on the scene after Andy was shot. I have that video if you'd like to watch it. It's one of the first ones I did, and it's called Who Would Shoot Andy Warhol? And here you can see Mickey Ruskin, the person who owned Max's Kansas City, and the giant mess that people leave after they get done with a night of partying. The album cover of the Velvet Underground that was put out when the Velvets were working their residency is pictured right here. A very interesting thing about this album is the microphone that was used to record the band was right near the door. So you can hear all of these wonderful conversations of the doormen checking IDs and answering questions from people coming in the door about the band. And, it's just these wonderful mundane conversations that, would never have been picked up if the microphone wasn't where it was placed. It's worth a listen. It's pretty interesting. One of the most notable things to come out of Max's was Deborah Harry, better known as the front woman of the band Blondie. Deborah was a waitress at Max's. She was also a go-go dancer at a disco, as well as a Playboy bunny at one of the Playboy resorts. Around this year we're discussing, which is 1976, Blondie released their self-titled album, but it wasn't until their third album, Parallel Lines, that they had worldwide success. It contained hits like Heart of Glass, Sunday Girl, and One Way or Another. Back in the diary, Lou had just come back from a successful tour, and he was a big hit in California. His last two shows for the year were apparently canceled due to illness. And you can see right here, so we're looking at December 19th, which would have been right here. You just got done playing the Paramount in Portland, Oregon, and then there's two more dates, the 29th and the 31st, and those were canceled due to illness. Now, Lou told Andy that his girlfriend, Rachel, had been kicked in a sensitive place. This would be Lou's trans girlfriend, Rachel Humphreys, born in 1952 of Mexican native descent. She went to cosmetology school in Bayonne, New Jersey, which would have been a short drive or bus ride to New York City, where she met Lou at Club 82 in Greenwich Village. Club 82 was known as a connected nightclub through the Mothers and Fathers Italian Association in the East Village, located at 82 East 4th Street. It was a gay-friendly destination that was popular with tourists or straights looking for a unique night on the town. And the club was owned by the Genovese family, with the club being Anna Genovese's business venture. And here you have wonderful Anna right here. Anna was a bisexual, and she was very open to the alternative lifestyles. And Club 82, it had this wonderful basement entry. And it wasn't some dive bar. It was a very friendly place to straights and everybody. And it put on these very welcoming shows. It wasn't some ratty dive bar where you had to look out for your life. It was a very upscale place to go. It's very popular with tourists. Lou Reed tells Andy that after Rachel was kicked, she started bleeding from the mouth. AI suggests going to the emergency room and says that the bleeding may have been caused by a secondary injury, such as biting your tongue or cheek, during to the severe pain or shock. And these medical experts and highly esteemed professionals on Reddit seem to concur, especially down here. Can a kick to the testicles cause someone to cough up blood? And Dr. Hellshot 8 just says flat out no. So you have it right here. It was probably a secondary injury. Lou said his doctor examined Rachel, and the doctor said that it was nothing and the bleeding should stop on its own. Lou was infamously seen by Dr. Robert Freyman, who Paul McCartney admitted in an interview the song Dr. Robert was about Dr. Freyman. I'm not sure how true that is, but there's no indication that Lou actually took Rachel to Dr. Freyman. Lou wasn't satisfied with the response from his own doctor, so he asked Andy to find another doctor he could ask. Andy offered to get Bianca Jagger's doctor to examine Rachel because what's a day without Bianca? And then Lou called back to say he got Keith Richards' doctor to come over, doing a house call on a Sunday. Can you imagine that going on today? Hey, Doc, can you drop everything that you're doing a week before Christmas and come over here? My girlfriend got kicked in the nuts. Keith's doctor, Dr. Nigel Cornish, warned Keith several times that Keith would only have months to live if he continued his current lifestyle. Keith Richards claims his longevity is due to having his blood scrubbed once a year in Switzerland. So I tried to go on this website, but it was really laggy. But I did do some poking around. Here's a definition of blood washing or blood scrubbing. They were kind of coy on their website about, how much it costs, but it's probably about $12,000 per session. And apparently several sessions are needed to do this correctly, because of course it is. And here's a guy having some fun getting his blood scrubbed. And here's the methods how it happens. If you're interested in that, you can go search out their website for more information. Andy seemed a little confused about how to address Rachel. Those pronouns. It turns out that Rachel was gender fluid and used both male and female pronouns interchangeably. Can you imagine Andy's confusion these days with pronouns? I think he would be more nervous about misusing someone's pronouns, and I also think he would find it very interesting. I think he would just get a kick out of somebody who, decides to be a man one day and a woman the next day. And how would he ever understand a they, them, and all this kind of stuff? And I think he was very interested in it because he was raised so strictly. Andy, he was brought up very Catholic, and he really hid that side of himself from his mother. He was very careful about where he went and photography because he didn't want pictures in the papers getting back to his mother, and then he had to try to explain what he was doing. And he walked around with a lot of that Catholic guilt. So I think Andy would have gotten a kick out of what's going on today. Lou and Rachel threw a party in 1977, and nobody was sure if this signified they were married or not. They had a multi-tiered cake and did some kind of ring exchanging. Apparently, they both took the ceremony seriously until the breakup. Some biographers state this wasn't a wedding ceremony, but it was a party to celebrate their 3-year dating anniversary. Eventually, Lou Reed thought this relationship with Rachel was becoming inconvenient, and Lou dropped her. And subsequently, Rachel disappeared from history. There were some reports that the tension arose in the relationship when Rachel expressed an interest in getting bottom surgery, which Lou was against. Some saw this as a controlling move on Reed's part, but there were many observers who saw physical and emotional abuse on both sides. And I kind of do agree with Lou Reed on this. I actually follow a couple of trans male to female creators on YouTube, and a lot of them don't want to get the bottom surgery because they don't think that the results are there yet, where it looks good and convincing and like a normal woman. So I can't imagine that the plastic surgery procedures were better, 50 years ago. And it's not like you can undo the surgery. I mean, you might be, you might be completely mutilated and not being able to do anything at all sexually. So I think that Lou is just acting not controlling, but like erring on the, if you will, on the side of being conservative, because he was maybe nervous about the abilities of the doctors, and I can't argue with him about that. Rachel passed away at the age of 37 in the Hell's Kitchen section of Manhattan. Although her exact death is the cause of her death is unknown, she passed away at St. Clair's Hospital, which specialized in helping AIDS patients. St. Clair's closed in 2007. It was located on West 51st Street in New York City. The building then became St. Vincent's, and it is now owned by Lennox Health. So you could see what the new hospital looks like and where St. Clair's was. Then it was St. Vincent's. Randy Shilts was the first openly gay reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle. Randy also wrote The Mayor of Castro Street, The Life and Times of Harvey Milk, which was adapted for the movie Milk starring Sean Penn, and it won him the Oscar for the Best Actor in 2009. So if you'd like to know more about the AIDS epidemic and how it started to come up through the late 70s and the 80s, and it just like decimated a lot of the gay community. Now we think about Andy in the 70s. I mean, he wasn't a part of this yet, but the AIDS epidemic was just lurking around the corner, and I'd be very interested to see in the diary how Andy was processing what was happening in the gay community all around him. I mean, eventually, like pretty much every gay person knew someone who was suffering from AIDS. And if you'd like to read a really good book, you can read And the Band Played On, The Politics and People of the AIDS Epidemic. I actually own this book. I haven't read it yet. It is a medium-sized book, I would say. It's about 600 pages, but the print is like really small. So it could be termed as long. If you don't have the patience to read a book, there is also a movie that came out by the same name, and the band played on, and had like, it was like one of those big movies with a lot of different actors in it. You can check that out. And so the second book that Randy wrote was the Harvey Milk book, which, if you've seen this movie with Sean Penn, it was very good, and it actually won him an Oscar. Randy tested positive for HIV in 1985, but he did not disclose his test results until he finished writing And the Band Played On. In 1992, Randy suffered a collapsed lung from complications of pneumonia, and he died in 1994 at the age of 42. At the time of his death, he was planning another book exploring homosexuality in the Roman Catholic Church. Now, that would have been interesting. So as far as the diary entry, it was kind of a short one. That was all that's the drama was for the day, is that Lou Reed came by and was trying to get some help for Rachel. And Andy didn't really write anything else on that day. As far as this day in history, on December 19th, 1976, a Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Colts football game was interrupted when a single-engine plane that had been flying over the stadium crashed into a section of the upper deck. The pilot was injured and later arrested for violating air safety regulations. The crash apparently happened during a commercial break and was not caught on camera. The pilot, David Kroner, was reportedly fired from his job as an MTA bus driver the day before the crash. And in 1980, Kroner was charged with stealing a Greyhound bus from Dulles International Airport. So he didn't learn his lesson after this. And that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed the diary entry. Of course, we're going to end as any good PowerPoint presentation does on the question screen. And we'll see you in the next one. The next day we'll be looking at is Monday, December 20th, 1976. And have a great Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Thanks for watching. MUBBO.